I'm just getting all my annoying noises out before we do a disclaimer.
Any more for any more?
Well, you could perceive my voice as being annoying, so SOL, unfortunately.
We can't put out a blank episode, though.
Or it could be the debut of the Cleves show featuring Cleves.
Nice.
That we alluded to in previous episodes.
I like that. Can you do the advert for me, though?
Yeah, definitely.
I'll also cut that.
Well, we just continue.
Warning! This podcast may contain bad language, crazy stories of things that some listeners may find offensive. That's it.
Oh, those crazy Crips.
Wow.
So, another sequel. 2022. Tales from the Crips episode 2. Let's go.
Is that...
That's not the song, is it? That's Rocky.
I don't know what you...
I think that's Rocky.
Was that even Rocky?
I don't know.
What are you even doing? Welcome to the Seesaw Podcast with T and Cleves.
Each week, offering up a delayed perspective on life. Welcome to Seesaw Unabridged. Also,
it belongs under a bridge.
You know what? I don't think people underprivileged listen to podcasts.
Why would they not?
Because they can afford a data plan, then they should be able to afford a house.
I imagine that they probably just hang outside of a McDonald's
or Starbucks. Other Wi-Fi is available.
And with someone's tossed out phone, use that.
I mean, hipsters, they're known for tossing out phones.
There you go.
Especially when the stock market doesn't go their way, when their Ethereum and Bitcoin is failing.
Shiba Inu coin or whatever else it is.
Bollocks coin. What if the inventor of Bitcoin, Mr. Bit, decided one day, now Bitcoins are worth nothing because I decided it?
It's not though, is it now? Because it's market value.
I guess. I just don't get it. Do you have any coins?
Nope. Did you expect me to have some?
I don't know. You see that sort of guy who would have a portfolio of, like, some coins?
No.
I mean, the only coins I have are in a jar.
Right.
They're real. Fucking hipsters. Get some real coins. So, shall we get started? We have another enthralling episode of Tales from the Crips. Welcome to Tales from the Crips.
Stories, scrapes, and disabled fails.
In this Now series, we dive into our extensive experience of crippled people, blinkies mainly at college, and the crazy hijinks that might happen.
You really picked this up.
I mean, I hope not, because it's really not that interesting.
Wow. Why would you say that?
Balancing it out, aren't
Oh my god, I swear to God.
I? Like a seesaw.
Right.
Who are we talking about this week, Cleves?
We are talking about... give him a name.
What's already on the sheet?
John Boy.
Dave.
Dave? Do you want to pick a more stupid name for him? You want to pitch me a name?
Reginald.
Reginald's pretty stupid, yeah. Sorry, Reg. Your name's Reg. Shit. Alright, fine, let's call him Reginald.
Oh, Reginald!
I don't disagree in this case.
So who's Reginald, Cleves?
The guy that we met at college. Short guy. Don't know much to say. He was total blind, right?
Yes, he was total blind.
Okay.
I assume he still is.
Might have had magic eyes.
Maybe. Lieutenant Dan did it in Forrest Gump and got magic legs. So, Reginald went by another name, didn't he?
He did, after a while, yes. He had a long mop of brown hair, didn't he?
It was quite nice hair as well.
Right.
This is coming from where...
Did you stroke it while he was asleep?
No.
Were you jealous because you have no hair?
A little bit.
You actually had hair at the time, though.
I did. So, not really. At the time, I wasn't. But looking back, I'm jealous of anyone's, like, phallic capabilities.
And phallic.
Also, yes. So, he's got, he's a short guy, totally blind, long sort of like brown hair. He was a nice enough guy. Not like Horace, who I had serious beef with, but...
I once played PlayStation with him, and we played like a Dragon Ball Z game or something. It was something he could play anyway. It was like, I'm dead good at it. And it was just like one of those fighting games, but it was kind of like a 3D landscape. So provided you made no noise, you could literally walk right up to him and start pummeling him in the face.
You're a dick.
Look, you just got to find the opening to take him where you can.
You know what? Fair. You took an opportunity. We all do that in life.
I smashed him down. All right, back to his luxurious mop of Samson-esque brown hair, which I can only assume gave him his powers.
Well, one day he collaborated with another totally blind person who convinced him that having long shoulder-length luxurious hair was not the right look to have. So he set to work painstakingly shaving it all off for no reason at all.
I'm not really sure why you would do that. Not being funny, but at the age of like 18, unless you're in the army, skinhead isn't always the best look.
No.
We're not even talking skinhead either, are we? We're talking almost bicked.
I think they did.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I just don't get it.
It was full slappable, wasn't it? Like,
oh, yeah, it was.
Proper full on.
And it was a shock as well. He just came in to college one morning and it was just all gone. And it was like, who the fuck is that? And it's like...
He had quite big eyebrows as well, didn't he? So
yeah, they never did anything with those.
Shock. Like, yeah.
Mr. Potato Head-esque. So, unfortunately for him, this also made him look like a beloved comic-cum-movie character. And that is Uncle Fester from the Addams Family.
I remember the first time I heard you say it to him, we were in critical thinking, and it was fucking funny.
I even think our teacher laughed at it. And, okay, you could perceive it as bullying, but he laughed as well. And maybe it was a laugh out, don't pick on me, guys. But unfortunately for him, because of his poor decisions, we would, whenever he entered the room, have to sing some of the Addams Family song. And this didn't get old for us, but I imagine it got old for him very quickly.
Yeah, he was getting a little bit annoyed after a while.
We just couldn't understand why he did it.
He kept it like that though for a while. Like,
he
didn't even make an effort to grow his hair back.
No, he didn't. For some reason, I don't get it.
Maybe he couldn't afford shampoo. It was a great money saver.
Shampoo is cheaper than blades to like shave your head, or at least they're comparable. Because you also need to get something to shave your head with as well.
Yeah, but if you just get some clippers, it's like a one-off purchase for a few years, isn't it?
Yeah, but even if you get clippers for 20 quid and you're getting bottle shampoo for £1 a time.
Okay.
I don't think it's worth
he had a lot of head shampoo, what can I say? He's probably rinsing through that.
Terrible. Nice guy. But, I mean, to his credit, he did try and own it, which in that environment is a difficult thing to do. He was not only gone from rinsing his own hair, but he was rinsed regularly by everyone else. So, this wasn't his only notable quality.
Or Fester. Fester had this thing where he thought he could do things. He reckons like blind man's intuition, essentially.
Yes.
Like some sort of, excuse the pun, seer, if you will.
You went there, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
Yes, he believed that this might have been another conversation he had with another blind person. If you haven't guessed by now, some people who have been sheltered their entire lives can be a little bit delusional about certain things. Not necessarily their fault, but I just think it happens when you are in disabled, like when you go to these schools, like you go from school age up to college and you're always sheltered and you're always like around these people. I don't know. There's some weirdness that crops up. And one way that this sort of reared its head was we were in critical thinking, shooting the shit at the beginning of the session, like we always did. And he started to brag that he could tell the difference between precious stones, I would guess you'd call them. Right?
Yeah, like gems and stones and that kind of shit.
By the energy they gave off. Now, unfortunately for him, our lecturer was either the greatest man in history or the world's biggest bullshitter.
Either way, he seemed to have some precious stones on hand.
Oh yeah, he seemed to have quite a collection of them.
Just knocking about in his drawers.
Just whips them out.
Yeah.
And he went, okay, we'll see about this.
I like how the teacher's challenging a blind person on this. What a dick.
I mean, we'll put a hand up and say we were dicks to Fester a lot of the time.
Yeah, true.
But this was a teacher piling on as well for no fucking reason other than to call him out on his shit.
It's got to be done sometimes.
So, Cleves, if you were to qualify the success rate of Fester in this instance, what percentage would you give?
0%.
And this wasn't just from 2 fucking stones. This must
He had like a collection.
10.
He's like, what's this? And he's like, oh, I think it's jade. It's like fucking sapphire. And he gives another one. It's like, what's this? It's like, oh, that one, definitely tiger. There was one he was dead keen on that he could say he could get every time, and it was tiger eye. And he's like, is this tiger eye? And it's like, no. It was like sapphire again or something, wasn't it? It was like the same stone.
Yeah.
The teacher's gone all in to be an arsehole about this.
The thing is, unfortunately for him in this situation, where the probability would be that he would get one right at some point out of like 10, 15 of these, he was just unlucky and didn't.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate, but it was fucking funny.
A lot of the shit used to happen in that same class with that same teacher as well, because there was only 4 of us in there, weren't there? There was me, you, Horace and Fester.
Yeah.
And what a class. T. Cleves, Horace and Fester.
Yeah.
And we used to have to do living skills as well, didn't we, in college? And
yes, we did.
When we'd all been making like food and been signed off and stuff, obviously he was not so capable at the time.
He'd gone previously to blind schools and was like completely unprepared.
But he must have already done a few meals because he got to the dessert stage, hadn't he?
He had got to the dessert stage.
Which is, I mean, dessert's a strong word, but he'd come straight from living schools one time and he'd bought this, I don't know whether he called it banoffee pie or banoffee tart, but it was literally like someone had just squeezed out 3 or 4 tubes of toffee sauce, cut a banana and then wanged it in at some point, put a couple of slices on top for, I don't know, decorative effect. And that was it in like a Pyrex dish, essentially. I don't know. There was no pastry. I can't say, you can't really call it a pie.
No pastry, no cream, nothing.
I think, yeah.
It was just toffee sauce and bananas. And firstly, it's not a fucking pie. Secondly, this is not the thing they should be teaching in living schools. That is fucking diabetes on a plate. Just syrup.
Whoa, healthy, mate. It's got fruit in it. Sweet source of potassium, I think you'll find.
The only sweet sauce in that fucking plate. Fucking God.
The thing is, I remember trying it as well because the teacher came round and says, "Oh, would anyone like to try this?" Looking at it at the corner of his eye, and I'm pretty sure Fester asked him, "Do you want some as well?" And he was like, "No, I'm fine, I'll pass." But I tried it, and that's how I know exactly what it was because it was just toffee slop and banana.
I don't think I had any. I think
I'd say you're missing out, but
I was in my arsehole phase, I think, at that point. I was like, no.
Was that phase lasted 33 years?
I'm 34.
No, I assume you were an arsehole as a kid. As a small baby. As soon as you hit 1, that was it.
I don't know. We won't have to substantiate that. So, with living skills, this wasn't the only place where they let him down, unfortunately. Because it wasn't just cooking he did in living skills. He did other things like using washing machines and like basically looking after yourself. We've already covered this in our basic tear down of the college RNC in previous episodes. But this was a time where it was just so glaring, like the inadequacy of training. So we're going to go to the pub and yeah, we weren't dicks. Fester was coming along with us. I think like you were working.
The fact that we keep calling it that was I don't think I was there. I don't think I remember that. But Yeah.
So I think we're all meeting. I think it was Carlo's, like a pub down the way that we all went to.
Mm.
And you were meeting us from work.
Yeah.
And there was a few other people who were heading out, but I was like, no, I'll grab Fester. My sight was better, and I was like, I can guide him down. Like, don't worry, I'll go get him in there. And he's changing the bedding. So he stripped his bed, and he's sorted out his pillows, done his undersheet, and that gets to the duvet.
Hardest of all, Ben.
It is the hardest thing, but that's like saying...
Can you do the inside out thing?
So, he didn't.
I don't know how to do that. Like, people keep telling me it's a thing. Like, I can't figure it out.
What, just turn the sheet inside out?
Yeah, where you like turn the sheet inside out and then sort of
Get the corners, and then you
roll it over. How does that even work?
I'll give you some living skills later. Because it's actually quite easy.
It doesn't make sense to me.
Well, he hadn't been taught this either. And this is the way that I would say is probably the easiest way. With a little bit of like, you've got to like set things up for yourself, but this would be the easiest way for a blind person to do it. He hasn't been taught this. I don't know what the fuck he's been taught. But he's like, oh, let me just put my duvet on. So his duvet, he's spread out on the floor. And then he gets down on the floor, he's got two corners of his duvet in one hand. He lifts up the bottom of the sheet. He starts to crawl in with the duvet.
What?
Pulling it in with him.
How?
So he's gone inside the duvet cover.
It was quite short.
Yes, but he's pulled the duvet sheet with him. Like the duvet itself with him. He's pulled it in, and his idea is I'm going to just like move it around when I'm in there.
Right. That's the way to do it, I guess.
So he started this, and he's understandably getting more and more angry. What's making him more angry is the fact that I'm laughing at him because this is the most batshit crazy thing I've ever seen in my fucking life.
I don't know. Thrust stance, anyone?
See episode 1 of Tales of the Crips. So out of his anger, he gets lost inside the duvet. And out of panic, he tries to stand up, fails in this attempt, and halfway falls and hits his wardrobe, knocking a lot of shit off the top. At this point, he's proper fucking panicking. I'm laughing at him. He's like...
It sounds like you're a proper arsehole in this scenario.
I know. He turns to me and says, I'm stuck, go get me some scissors.
No.
He did. He's like, get me some scissors. I'm like,
He's going to cut his way out of that shit.
That's the thing. I was like, oh. Needs to say, I helped him out of it, and to redeem myself, I showed him how to do the corners thing, like the inside out. I was like, just do this.
Right.
And it worked a lot better.
You should have taken a job as living skills teacher.
So there are other stories of Fester, but I think we've ragged on him enough.
Wow.
And I will reiterate that he was a really nice guy, and I still chat to him.
Do you really?
Every 6 months, I'll drop him a message to see how he's doing.
See how his bed sheets are. Have he's made any more delicious desserts?
I hope neither of those things.
Squirty cream and apple pie, something like that.
Apple and cream.
Yeah.
Just buy your puddings. Come on. So, I think we need to move on and give him a little bit of a rest. So, shall we go back to Horace for one more?
Plenty of horror stories.
So, while we're on the topic of blind people with sharp implements, when we're in college...
Where was the sharp implement coming?
Well, there was the scissors, weren't it, for
Okay,
Fester?
fine.
Like, he wanted the scissors, which I didn't get for him. But we sorted it.
Just got up some safety scissors.
Not cutting
Thrown them into the hole, because apparently he couldn't have climbed out of that. How was he going to get... Actually, yeah, that's the point. How are you going to get the scissors into him, or did he want you to cut him out?
He wanted me to cut him out.
Okay, fine. Okay, go on. Horace. We're back on Horace.
Okay. So this story, I put down the notes, Booze Brothers featuring Dan Aykroyd. I didn't know he was in this story. So there was a company. Would you call it a company? Or a shop?
Of course it's a company. I guess it was. Yeah, no. Yeah, it was a company.
In the area who went by the name Booze Brothers. And this is essentially Just Eat and Uber Eats, Deliveroo. Imagine these back in 07. Essentially, you'd phone these dudes up, tell them what alcohol you wanted, Super shady because they didn't check ID either.
Nope.
You tell them what alcohol you wanted, and then a couple of dudes would go and buy this for you, deliver it to you, and then you'd pay for like delivery and like a service charge and stuff like that. Sounds very simple. I think we only used them once. They were quite expensive.
Yeah, it's usually like a bottle of vodka, 25 quid, and then when he turns up, it's like a fucking Red Square or something.
Yeah.
Vodka.
Yeah, basically. So it punished people for poor planning.
Like,
There's alliteration for you.
like a lot of companies, really.
Yeah. Now, for some reason, like we were drinking at the house, and I don't know if we'd run out of drink, but I know Horace had, and I think I was in my dickish, no, you're not having any of mine, you incompetent weasel.
Wow. There's a lot. What have you been an arsehole in this week's episode?
I know. I'm really not. I'd like to say.
You're not coming out well out of this.
I know, unfortunately, but I am a nice man. I did help out a lot, but that doesn't make for an interesting episode. Like, times that T was charitable and nice to people. I like to think out of that toxic environment, there was a handful of nice people, and I was included in that. Although there were the glimmers of shitness that came with that. So I can't remember the exact circumstance. But Horace decided he wanted to get some vodka from Booze Brothers. So he phones them up, says what he wants. These dudes show up to the house, to which Horace quickly reminds himself that he hasn't got any money.
Love it.
So he asked everyone around, and everyone's like, well, no, I don't know, like 25 quid. What are you talking about? You should have ordered it if you didn't have the fucking money.
This predates the tap and go card system.
Yep, no card reader, nothing like this, was all cash. But one of the Booze Brothers are surprisingly helpful guys. There's a cash machine down the road, and they were in the mindset of, oh, don't worry, buddy, we'll take you to the cash machine, help you use it, and get our money and we'll bring you home.
Nothing sketchy about that.
Nothing sketchy at all. Well, Horace thought that there was something very sketchy here. So he was like, okay, lads, I'll be back in a minute. So he waddles into the kitchen, and I go in there, and I go, like, are you really going to go with these dudes to get cash out? He went, it's all right. I know what I'm doing. He turns around, and he's got a fucking carving knife, which he decides to hook into his trousers.
Obviously.
And I'm like, you idiot, what are you even playing at? This could not possibly be worse. Needless to say, I convinced him to not take a knife with him. Which, as you know, is quite difficult with him. He's very stubborn.
Yeah.
And was adamant that he wanted to take this knife.
Oh, there's more than one arsehole in these stories, yeah.
So I managed to convince him to not do that. But I never convinced him that going with these couple blokes was a bad idea.
Hey, man needs vodka.
Well, they took him, he got his vodka. I don't know if any other hijinks happened, because, frankly, he wouldn't have told us anyway. But, needless to say, he got his vodka, and he had a fantastic night.
It was nice that was a thing. More people could profit from that now.
Yeah.
Having a booze delivery service late night. I suppose it's just, you can get stuff, can't you, from the shops now in like an hour, so.
Yeah, that's it. So kids, don't ever get in a car with strangers who have brought you booze to get to a cash machine to pay them for said booze. Don't think I should have to tell
Especially if
you.
you're blind.
Yeah.
Who knows where they're taking you?
Yeah, that's it. Well, there's your token horror story for this episode. So, as for Seesaw, let's get some balance on this.
Every time.
Yeah. So let's dip into one of our stories, shall we? Because I don't want to come across as that we're just ragging on disabled people, which is what it is. But it's not like we haven't got stories and done stuff ourselves. I seem to recall
The Wednesday 13 gig.
Yes.
Now we do, why we call it that. Because we'd all got tickets. It was me, T, two other people. One with ocular albinism. Let's call him
Al.
Snow Edmonds.
Snow Edmonds.
It's like snow. Al Snow. Okay, right.
Al Snow. There you go.
We just call him the Snowman. Let's just call him Al.
Yeah, call him Al.
Okay, let's call him Al and some other guy that...
Dickface.
Didn't he have a brain thing that made his eyes bad or something?
I don't know, but he was a dickhead.
He was. I would argue that he was a cunt.
Well, I don't want to keep using the word cunt, so let's just call him dickhead.
Actually, I don't know. I'm not going to call him that all the way through.
Okay.
We can think of a nicer name for him. What's the worst name you can think of?
Dick.
So Richard.
Head.
Let's call him Dick, shall we?
Let's call him Dick.
Fine.
Al and Dick.
Al, Dick, T and Cleves. Right, so we'd all got tickets anyway to see this Wednesday 13 gig at Rock City in Nottingham. We were in Hereford at the time. But we had to get home on train. And the train can be quite expensive from Hereford to Nottingham. But because I have a member of the family that works on the railway, I can get quarter fare tickets. Well, I can only get that for myself, not for anyone else. But if you buy the ticket in advance with the pass on you, then your name's not on the ticket. So I went 4 separate occasions to the railway office, bought 4 separate tickets, so that each of my friends could have got quarter fare tickets to Nottingham. And then on the day, we turn off at the station, we all get on the train, the ticket inspector comes round.
Before we've even left the station.
Yeah, the train was still in the station at this point. She asks us for our tickets and notices that they're all quarter fare and then asks for the ID to go with them. Now, I'm the only person that's got this ID. And because she's such a fucking job's worth and no one else had the ID, pretty much told us we all had to get off the train and we were doing something fraudulent.
Yes, I believe the word fraud was used.
Yeah, it was unfortunate. So we never did make it to that Wednesday 13 gig.
No, we never did. But from what I recall, we still had a good night.
Yeah, we went to Tesco, bought a shitload of beers, and then hung up on Dick's balcony and got fucked up.
Yeah, basically. And listened to Wednesday 13
Yeah.
on a stereo.
I'm pretty sure because I threw a lot of cans over the balcony that night as well. It was one of those instances where the next day I had to go and see the airhead.
Yeah.
But again, they couldn't actually prove it was me because there was a lot of people drinking Fosters up there that night. It could have been anyone.
Oh, those were the days. The fraudulence.
Yeah,
I still would have liked to have gone to the gig considering I paid for the gig ticket.
No, we all took the chance.
We did.
I'm pretty sure Al wasn't 18 at the time anyway, and it was an 18 plus gig, so we would have had to try and sneak him in even if we got to City.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things going against us, but youthful exuberance tells you, we'll be alright.
Yeah. It's like, well, we'll deal with it when it comes to it. I suppose the silver lining is we were kicked off the train before it left the fucking station.
That's true. We could have got to fucking Birmingham or something. Bleak existence, that is.
Yeah. And then we'd have had do we just buy tickets to Nottingham or to Birmingham, back to Hereford?
I probably would have winged it again.
Well, you could. Like, your ticket was legitimate.
Yeah, true.
You're the only one who could do it. And there we go. A time where we were stupid. I mean, we agreed to the plan. So...
Yeah. Rounded up the team you were in.
I mean, I wouldn't change anything. But there you go. There are some tales from the Crips. Anything to add?
Tune in next week.
For something exceptional?
Oh yeah, next week's going to be awesome.
Off the chain. In the pocket.
Alright.
Groovy. Well, thank you, Cleves, for making everyone know how much of a dick I am.
Your story is like literally you endickened yourself.
Endickened?
Yeah. To become dickish. To endicken oneself. Look it up.
And as always, if you have a story you would like featured on Tales from the Crips about yourself or someone else, let us know at the links coming up. We'd love to hear some. Please take the spotlight off of me because I wish I could say those are the only Horace and Fester stories that I have. They're not, unfortunately. And there's some more people coming as well, including myself and Cleves.
Nah. Nothing ever bad's happened to me.
We'll see.
Okay.
Awesome. Right, shall see you next week.
Au revoir. You want to do your little balance thing?
Seesaw, keeping the balance.
I don't know why I wrote.
Like a seesaw.
Thanks for listening to the Seesaw Podcast.
You can find us on Facebook at Seesaw Podcast, Twitter, Seesaw Pod. You can email us at seesawpodcast@gmail.com. You can also find us on TikTok and Instagram at Seesaw Podcast or Seesaw Pod, depending on which one we want. But get us on the other places. This podcast was recorded in front of a blind audience. I try so hard sometimes.
What, to come up with new and inventive noises?
Yeah.
What's your latest one? What you got?
You just heard it.
That was just a bit of random song.